everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of State of the State. I'm Sunday Kolaoli, and sincere apologies for coming very scheduled. It's not in my character. We had a little issue with timing and logistics. That's why we had to come this very schedule. Once again, apologies. Let's go into the pool of the issue today. We will not be going into politics. We'll be going into education sector, as we'll be looking at the development in the education sector under the current administration in Ondo State. And I'm being joined today by a former Accountant General and Permanent Secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service, now Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Laolu Akindolere. Thank you so much for joining me on State of the State.
Thank you. Good evening.
I understand you are a trained accountant, chartered accountant for that matter. You rose to become Accountant General for Ondo State. You are now Commissioner for Education. How round does that make you a peg in the round hole?
Well, thank you. Having served as Secretary General and having served in the civil service for 35 years, there is no area, whether there is no ministry, there is no sector that I cannot fit in. Because as Secretary General, you are the Chief Financial Officer of the state. You account for all receipts and expenditure of the state government. So that makes you very familiar with the budgetary provision of all MDs. You are familiar with the functions that each ministry does. So I'm well equipped for this.
So since you now got to that position, what significant impact have you had in the education ministry that you're in charge of?
Well, first and foremost, because of my passion for acquisition of vocational skills, since as Commissioner of Office created a department, I've gotten necessary approval for creation of the Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation.
Entrepreneurship and Innovation
is to create, to train our students of secondary schools to be able to acquire vocational skills, to be able to be self-sufficient.
Right from the secondary school?
Yes, from JSS2, JSS3 class to SS1 through SS3. By the time they finish SS3, they will have acquired entrepreneurial skill to be able to set up one business or the other. In other words, if they decide to further their education, they will be able also to practice their skills, learning holidays, learning, they will be able to earn some income. And if they are not opportunity to go higher, they can also stay self-sufficient, rather than roaming about the streets looking for jobs that are not available.
That entails creation of a department on its own. Yes. How about the bureaucratic requirements? Are we able to also sort that out?
We have resources within that fits into that without any additional financial application.
Now, so how do you intend to sustain that policy, especially looking at the way and manner policy somersault has always been the bane of development in Nigeria? Is it going to be about the either to administration or their bureaucratic and official strings or chains you're putting on ground to ensure that it goes beyond the either to administration?
The program, yes, payments have been put in place for the program to be sustainable.
Okay.
Talking to development partners, World Bank, UNDP, who will collaborate with us to make it a continuous process.
Okay, now, Mr. Akindolere, let's come to some issues and developments in the education sector. What happened to the SSC recently became the talk of the town. Students had to now face the issue of indebted and all of those things. What exactly went wrong?
No, there is no issue about the SSC result.
Okay.
The issue we had was just mine. It was about the WASC, whereby state government has been able to pay. The total sum is 708 million naira, 716,000 naira. Yes, at the time the results were about to be out, we have left a balance of 158 million naira thereabout. Okay. Within some few days, the government was able to, the government gave approval and we were able to pay, and the results have been released. So was
it at the point of release of result that you were just making arrangement for payment, or what happened?
We have
you know, I'm asking because you were also Accountant General in this state, so yeah. you must be aware of all these approvals and
yes,
release
we
of
have
funds.
gotten the approval of the governor before then. You know,
before the releasing
had some steps,
okay.
Which has to we have to fulfill the fiduciary guidelines of the state government. there's no issue about it. Within 2 days, it has been resolved.
What assurance has the people of Ondo State that the clog or maybe bottlenecks that were responsible for that incident have been taken care of and there won't be recurrence?
It will occur again. It's just, there is no deliberate, or it's not a deliberate action, but just some hiccup. We're able to resolve it in no time.
Now, what exactly is the latest now in this initiated process of teachers' recruitment in secondary schools in Ondo State? I understand that TESCOM was doing something in that regard.
Yeah, TESCOM are recruiting 1,000 teachers, superb 1,000 teachers, but I can assure you all the letters of appointment by the end of this weekend, I've got it, so they will resume with the new session.
About tomorrow then?
Yes.
Because the week ends tomorrow as far as work days are concerned.
Between tomorrow and the weekend, the new appointees should definitely get their letters of appointment. All the arrangements are involved.
Are you assuring the people of Ondo State that they can take you by your word that these new teachers will get their letters of appointment before the weekend?
Definitely. I'm assuring the people of Ondo State that.
Well, I'd like to know what measures and arrangements your ministries are putting in place to ensure that the back-to-school moment is an easier one for pupils, students, and parents.
Well, all arrangements have been put in place. School shuttle buses are ready. In fact, the state government is making arrangement for procurement for additional CNG buses. The conventional buses uses diesel or petrol, but the CNG buses uses natural gas.
The state is making arrangements for the purchase of CNG. Are you saying that is apart from the federal government? Because Oyo State government took delivery of 20 CNG buses recently. Yeah. We've not heard anything about Ondo State yet. Also, are you referring to that of Ondo State from the federal government, or the state wants to procure its own?
Yes. In fact, recently this special advisor and advisor traveled for this purpose, and I think before the mid-session, they will have gotten the buses.
So arrangements have been completed about transportation. How about other issues? For instance, many parents are also groaning about the high cost of books and all of those other things as they prepare their children and wards for resumption. What is your ministry doing about this?
Well, we have at the beginning of the week on Monday, I assembled all the principals, all the public secondary schools in the hall of Queen Anne's Grammar School, and addressed them. And specific instructions were given to them about the new resumption date. That no student, under no circumstance, must any principal collect any money for textbook or school uniform. The principals was instructed that they should only show sample of uniforms to parents or students. The parents have the right to buy whatever they want and sew whatever they want. The same goes for textbooks. We have lists of approved textbooks for use in those states. And all these books, the list of those books are made available at the notice board of schools for parents to go and buy at any bookshop of their choice. No principal is entitled to collect any money for either textbooks or uniform. So the right out was said to them that, and I equally said, if there's any principal, any parent that has any concrete proof, I'm available, and the principal will need to face the right of the law.
Would that suffice? Monitoring mechanisms by your ministry, because you've veered into another area. That's the area of illegal dues and levies. How about placing monitoring mechanisms? Because there are reports in some quarters of illegal collections. I'm sure you must have also heard. So
yes, that prompted
how well would you deal with
even
this?
Last week, myself, I swung into action when I had some reports. I went to many schools, and I didn't go with any official of the ministry. I didn't go inform the officials in the headquarters. From my house, I started going from school to school. When I get to school, at first, if I meet any parent coming out, I would just quietly park it. How much is the uniform? So I monitored, and the monitoring is still ongoing, because when there is no monitoring, you can't ensure compliance. There's no voluntary compliance around that. But I can assure you, you will not disappoint.
Is there any principle that's untouchable?
No.
If there's a case like this?
No, untouchable. Nobody will be left. Whoever is found wanting will not escape. The civil service rules are clear about this. So I told them, even at the meeting I had with them, that don't do it. The only solution, don't do it, because I'm not compromising. I'm not. People know me.
What are the legal collectibles? Because where there is no law, there is no offense.
We have lists of approved collectibles that are already been circulated to the schools, to the school principals, and I can read out some of them.
Okay, quickly.
Or if
because of our time, just
I can tell you just the total to
okay.
save time.
Okay, the total.
The highest approved collectible for public secondary is 14,300 naira.
The highest collectible in public secondary schools in Ondo.
14,300 naira.
14,300 naira.
And
the highest collectible
that have school bus because of the cost of maintenance, diesel maintenance of the bus. But for schools without buses, it's 11,800.
Without buses, it's 11,800.
The bus is 14,300. That's the approved, and this approved collectible is jointly approved. Agreed upon by all the stakeholders in the educational sector of the state. Executives of the Parents Teacher Association, ANCOPS, and other stakeholders. So it wasn't dictated by Ministry of Education. I called a stakeholders meeting while we all agreed at it. So parents are aware and for this through the Parents Teachers Association.
So you're also monitoring to ensure that no principal is collecting more.
Yes, we have even assembled also zonal education officers and area education officers that they should monitor for any school, for any area where a principal is found wanted, the AU and the ZU should be penalized. So I need them to understand this.
Okay. So this would require a lot of synergy. So how well are you putting in place initiatives to promote engagement, including parents, teachers, and communities in the education sector to the education sector?
Yeah, towards in this direction, we have agreed to be holding regular stakeholders meeting with all the stakeholders, parents, ANCOPS, and other stakeholders, NGOs, other stakeholders, to be reviewing the situation as it is, where there is need to review to enforce to do some more enforcement, we always do.
Okay. Now, from Kano to Edo now appear, you hear of postponement of resumption dates. In fact, Edo State is saying it's an indefinite postponement, citing this fuel price hike as the reason for the postponement. Ondo State just today issued a circular announcing postponement of its own resumption of schools from Monday to Tuesday, citing the public holiday as a reason. But what is the disposition of Ondo State government to consideration of this fuel hike price? That Edo State government has cited. You also find conversations around that issue in many other states. What is Ondo State government's disposition to that?
Aside from the issue of public holiday on Monday, we are resuming. Our students are resuming on Tuesday, 17 September 2024.
Sacrosanct.
All the principals have been fully circularized.
So what arrangements are you making to ensure that this fuel price hike is not maybe worse toll on the people, especially as schools resume?
Like I've said earlier, we are already making the school fleet buses services is still available. The government is continuing. The government wants to do more in that direction. We are even thinking of introducing the shuttle buses in some other areas where presently they are not operating. So I don't think there will be any problem. I myself will be going. I belong to a team on Tuesday. Students resume.
Well, Mr. Kindere, actually, the way my mind was working was not in the aspect of that transportation. You've already addressed that. Well, what I'm talking about is this. For instance, in Lagos State, government has said that now be work from home initiative from levels 1 to 14 and all of that. You also find that happening in some other states. Let's assume that happens in Ondo State. I think proactive reasoning should be what we have been talking about now. What would the education do to ensure that there's a way education is not adversely affected with work from home gesture, if that happens?
That's like that. If aside from that, the state government were already working with some kind of consultants.
Okay.
Yes, who has professionals who are already. In fact, we are starting the pilot case this semester, this session, whereby we intend getting tablets for teachers and for students, whereby their syllabus will be loaded into these tablets, whereby they can even read their lectures at home. It's like phone, Android phone. Then teachers, so that they can, even without coming to school, they can prepare for lessons, they can prepare for exams. So, in a way, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. So, we are trying to digitalize the syllabus and the exams. We're going to load past questions from past 20 years into the tablets, where they can reply with answers. So, all these arguments are ongoing with this.
Well, our schools are just prepared to resume. You said it's sacrosanct that schools will resume on the 17th of September. That's Tuesday next week. So I'd like to know what arrangements are on awareness, preventive measures, especially in the wake of monkeypox, now time mpox everywhere. What exactly will you be doing to ensure preventive measures in our schools?
We are presently collaborating with the Ministry of Water Resources project, whereby more toilets will be built for schools, balls will be done for schools. In fact, we have started identifying the schools, so that when you have good potable water, the incidence of the cholera or these things we're talking about will be out of place. So we're going to build more toilets. We're also collaborating with the Ministry of Health to ensure effective provision of medical services to our schools. So I don't think we have any problem. Not is going to have this regard.
Will there be immunization and vaccination and all of that?
Yes, the health personnel will be going around the schools to do to conduct tests and immunize the students against all these deadly diseases.
Information is power, if you agree with me. So how well will assembly engagement at our schools be helping in regard, or aren't you looking at that?
Yeah, of course. Students will be continuously sensitizing the students for what's available, what government is doing, and also educating them, health education, so that they also are about hygiene, so that continuously they do everything possible to avoid all these health issues.
Now, what exactly have been what you could describe as tangibles that the current administration, the idea that your administration has been able to bear in the education sector, especially since you became the Commissioner for Education? Apart from the entrepreneurial area you highlighted, motivation is important. Initiatives that could also enhance the sector is important. They are important. What exactly have you been able to do? And when I say what have you, I mean the government of Ondo State.
And the present governor of our state, working with this one, that deserves profound commendation for all of us, because for its huge investment in the educational sector of the state. As we are talking, arrangements are going on for the renovation of about 75 secondary schools at the cost of over 2 billion across the 3 senatorial zones. Construction, renovation, commencing and that's to have enough room to attract many of the out-of-school children. When there are more classrooms, there are more out-of-school children brought into the classroom. Apart from that, the government also has paid, following year has paid the sum of 708 million naira, 716,004, 26,088 on those state students for WASC. Also recently, about 3 weeks ago, the sum of 339 million naira was paid out was approved by the governor for payment of this scholarship and financial assistance to those state students. That's to mention a few of the achievements, and a lot also is being done. Also, I would like to also let those state people know that a lot of our students won some domestic and international competitions. Because when we say this kind of thing, to encourage parents also to be able to also want their children to be part of this success. Those state came first in the inter-street speak competition with cash prize of 7.5 million naira, and scholarship award up to PhD level. And those state students won that. Correct? And those state students came first and third in physics at the Nigerian Mathematics and Science Olympiad competition. And we represent Nigeria in the international competition in Iraq later in the year. Our student also came third in the Mathematics Association of Nigeria competition. That's just to mention a few of what our students have been able to.
Mr. Akindele, these students wouldn't have been able to achieve all of this without a dedicated set of teachers,
yes.
Well-motivated set of teachers. So I'd like to know, what have you been able to do to ensure that salaries, which many politicians will always want to flaunt, which to me and to many Nigerians are just the normal thing to be done. What extraordinary thing have you been able to do as government to motivate teachers in Ondo State?
Yeah, well, motivation for the teachers that have done the sessions, I will give them awards during the annual Teachers' Day. So then go away with cash, and then with huge cash prizes. This to encourage them, because we don't just give on a platter of gold. We have to measure achievements before we give them. So that's part of the motivation that we motivate teachers.
How about incentives?
Well, incentives, we are just working on that now to see that to see teachers that are performing very well, so that they can have some incentive bonus in addition to their legitimate salaries.
Well, workload of teachers, would you also be looking into that? You find some teachers having to deal with huge workload because of obvious shortage of teachers in certain places. So, apart from the one teachers you claim that would be getting their appointment letters this weekend, what else would you be doing to bridge this gap?
Well, we intend to be, the recruitment of teachers is going to be, henceforth will be a continuous exercise. It's not going to be just this year. As soon as we cross into 2025, we're going to recruit another 1,000 teachers. We'll continue doing this until we're able to bridge the gap of the shortage, the teachers shortage.
Let's talk about technical education in those states. You were talking about this entrepreneurial scheme, and I understand that there's a technical school in Owo. At least I know that. I also know that there are technical schools in some other places all over Nigeria. But I'm particularly about Ondo at this point. How well will this administration focus on technical schools to also ensure that we have those schools up and running?
Well, we are also looking into, we have already commenced process of also renovating about 38 technical, because we have 4 technical colleges, so we have about 38 projects we are going to renovate at a cost of over 1.3 billion naira also for this before the end of this year. So also as in regards to the renovation of the facilities, and this year alone, government paid a sum of 6,492,000 naira for the NAPTEP evaluation fees of 161 students of government technical colleges. Also, we are able to get accommodation of courses at the government technical college this year, which has long been overdue. We are able to achieve that this year.
Now, let's stop briefly before I will close up on this conversation. Okay. What's the development, for instance, at Rufus Goa Polytechnic or what?
As you are aware, the government is doing a lot of backlog of teachers. But this year, the government has been able to pay 6 7 months out of the outstanding. And before the end of the year, we're going to clear the outstanding. Aside from that, the institution has not been able to conduct convocation ceremony over 12 years. But before the end of this year, they are conducting the government is working out to finance the convocation ceremony.
Mr. Lauda Akindolere is the Honorary Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology in Ondo State, and unfortunately we won't be able to have the stretch of time that we are supposed to have on the outlook because of we didn't start on time. I hope that we'll be able to have another time to expand conversations on development in the education sector. He was Attorney General, Accountant General, and a Permanent Secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service, and we've been talking about many other things that have to